Hello, everyone. My name's Joy James. I teach in recreation management here at Appalachian State University. And I want to welcome you to the Harnessing Nature webinar series from in partnership with the UNC system. We have Kim Mitchell here representing them, and she's been instrumental in helping facilitate these webinars for us. It's also in partnership with the Hope Lab, the Healthy Outdoor Play and Exercise Lab here at App State, where we're looking at how to get people from the cradle all the way on up to being senior citizens to enjoy nature. And we have a wonderful slate of speakers today. Our focus is on urban campus wellness. So I think you'll be interested to hear what people have to say about how they brought nature to their urban, suburban campuses. Before I do that, I'm putting a question in the chat. Basically, if you'd put your name in the chat, your institution, and your favorite urban moment in nature, I'd appreciate that. It just coincides with the first speakers that I'm talking about. My favorite urban moment at a labyrinth with native flowers in a park in New York City last summer. So, pitch to you, Jordan and Denise.
Are you
Awesome. Go ahead.
are you ready for us to start or
Yes. Yeah, please go ahead and put it in there. My apologies.
okay. Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I'll go ahead and share my screen for mine and Denise's slides. All right, are y'all able to see slides in slideshow mode on my screen? If you can give me a thumbs up. Thank you so much. Okay, so Denise and I are really happy to be here with you today to talk about promoting well-being through outdoor labyrinths. My name is Jordan Perry, and I'm the Director of Wellness and Prevention Services at Appalachian State University. I've been working in the field of public health for 20 years, which is a little hard for me to believe sometimes. And this is my colleague Denise.
Hi, everybody. I'm Denise Levy. I'm a faculty member in the Department of Social Work at App State, and I actually teach a class at 2:30 today. So if you see me slip out after our presentation, that's why. I look forward to hearing from everyone else, and thank you to Joy for recording this so that I can do that later. So thank you.
Denise has been such a great partner in this work, along with other folks. If you can get us talking about labyrinths, we might not stop, but we're going to limit it to 10 minutes today. So, a labyrinth is an ancient circular design used for walking meditations, ceremonies, rituals, choreographed dances, pilgrimages, and more. It's a single path to the center and back out. It's not a maze. And in fact, not a corn maze, popular misconception. But we see students engaging with our campus labyrinth in all kinds of wonderful ways, including breakdancing on them, doing yoga, chasing each other, just sitting and enjoying.
Yeah, so if you have or have not heard of a labyrinth before, we wanted to share some images with you. And labyrinths have been around since prehistoric times for 3 to 4,000 years. And the Labyrinth Society has lots of great information about the history of labyrinths and photos of different labyrinths. And like Jordan said, they've been used, in rituals, just for a meditative walk. And we'll tell you later in the presentation about some of the ways our App State students, faculty, and staff, as well as community members, have used our labyrinths on campus. These are just some photos. The one on the bottom right is actually the roof of the American Psychological Association building. And so I wanted to show you some labyrinths in urban spaces, since that's sort of our focus for today. You'll see lots of labyrinths in cathedrals. You'll see outdoor ones. There are temporary ones. I've seen someone make a labyrinth out of sand at a beach. And so there's lots of great examples. On our next slide, you can see there are more than 6,500 labyrinths around the world. So I put in the chat that one of my favorite things to do is when I visit different cities for conferences to go to botanical gardens, but I also will look up to see if they have a labyrinth there. And this labyrinth locator is great. Our App State labyrinths are located on it. But I will look at a city and see, is there a labyrinth? Is it open to the public? Where is it? Is it near where I'm going to be for a conference? So there are many around the world that are open to the public, and I encourage you to look and see if you can find one near you. So here at App State, we have a long history that's at least maybe about 15 years with labyrinths. The very first labyrinth I know of was a faculty member who drew a labyrinth on some tobacco cloth that she brought around to her classes. But eventually it sort of disintegrated. And then in 2014, I was part of this learning community with faculty and staff that was called Expressive Arts and Social Justice. And we had a little grant money and we were trying to figure out what to do and with those funds. And we decided to purchase this canvas labyrinth that you see in this photo. And the lines were already drawn, but we chose the paint color and painted it. And we offered the labyrinth for the first time on our campus, and this is in our student union in 2014. And during that time, we had had kind of a difficult year on campus. We had had several student deaths, and we offered the labyrinth on World Labyrinth Day, which was also during final exams, as a way for students to de-stress, but also to walk in memory of their classmates. And so that was a really special time.
So I have been with the UNC system for some years, but I came to App State in 2022, and as part of my role, I have been able to access and use some substantial grant funding from North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services, as well as the UNC system. And we had a large grant from the Department of Health and Human Services in 2022 through 2024 to support students in recovery. Well, what we realized as we got to the end of our grant timeline is we actually had some money left over. Simultaneously, we had a group of folks on our campus who were interested in this initiative that we call OWLS, Outdoor Wellness Locations. And these are underutilized spaces on our campus that we wanted to turn into spaces where students can engage with outdoor well-being activities. And my thought was, okay, I can feed two birds with one biscuit here. I can use this grant money to support students in recovery, and I can also help to kick this Outdoor Wellness Locations initiative off. And so we installed this very first labyrinth on Sanford Mall, which is our main quad, in 2024. The beautiful thing about it is we installed it to honor students, faculty, and staff in recovery. There is an organization out of South Carolina that installs labyrinths. And they've installed several around the state on college campuses. Well, our friends over at Leon Levine Health Sciences heard we were doing this, completely like interest convergence here. And they said, "Oh, we want to do this too." And so the Dean's Excellence Fund funded our second campus labyrinth, and that was also installed in summer 24. And as you know, we were impacted by Hurricane Helene in September of 24. And one of the first things that I checked when I made it onto campus after the hurricane was the labyrinths, and they were both okay and made it through the hurricane. And we were pleased to discover that there was actually an even older labyrinth on campus that we didn't even know about. There was a senior capstone project that was done some years ago at an off-campus but campus-owned site that we have access to. It's a working farm called the Blackburn Vanoy Farm, which is managed and run by our sustainability partners. And it's a simple rock labyrinth that was installed as part of a student senior project. So we were really happy to learn that this existed as well.
So we're nearing the end. I think we have one last slide after this one, but we just wanted to give you a sense of some of the ways our students are using our labyrinths. And Jordan shared some of those at the beginning, but it's everything from individual and group walks to just sitting at the benches that are in the labyrinths or around the labyrinths and being in nature. And we have also had some communal events. So after Hurricane Helene, we had some walks. We have utilized the labyrinth in like welcome week activities or having walks for peace or sexual assault awareness or remembrance of folks who have died who are part of our campus community. It has become a community gathering space too. And so it's been wonderful to see people using it in many different ways. We still have our Canvas Labyrinth that is housed in the Department of Social Work, and that has traveled around to different cities and places for conferences and workshops. And so it's wonderful to have our permanent labyrinths and also one that we can take with us. And so I think I'm going to stop on this slide with the information we've shared. And we have two campus websites with information about our labyrinths. On the Sanford Mall website, I have recorded a short guided walk. So if you are at a labyrinth and want to have a facilitated or a guided walk set to music, there's a file on there that you could play on your phone or device. Here are some ways that you can contact us and gather more information. And we're happy to answer questions later after the presentation. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Denise and Jordan, for this amazing work and presentation. Really appreciate it. Good luck teaching class today, Denise. I'm going to move us to the next presentation, which is by Jennifer Bueno Hutchins. And she couldn't join us today, and she created this wonderful video. And what I was so excited about it was is talking about some of the gratitude programs that she's been offering in her garden. So I'll let her, I'll share here with y'all. And if I can find my stuff, and I've got the media player, share it. All right, let me know if you can't hear.
Not here.
Yeah, I can't hear it either.
Try this one. Volume. Volume is up. Let me try my volume. I apologize. My volume's up. Can you hear the music?
Hello, my name is Jennifer, and I'm an outdoor gardener on staff at Charlotte Botanical Gardens. I'm also a certified forest therapy guide, trained by the Association of Nature and Forest Therapy. Now, why did I get into forest therapy? My journey starts several years ago. I had worked in the IT corporate world for over 15 years, which gradually took a toll on my mental, emotional, and physical health. And I knew I needed a change desperately. I had always had a love of gardening, of the outdoors, of nature. So I returned to school, earned my horticulture degree, and I took that leap of faith. I changed careers and became a full-time gardener. Now, fast forward, when COVID arrived on the scene, many people avoided public spaces, stayed inside. I had learned from Cornell University that they had a program called Nature RX, which connected the campus community with nature with the help of medically trained physicians. So the seed was planted and the idea sprouted to begin a similar program here at the Botanical Gardens, which began with a walk called Gratitude in the Gardens back in December of 2021. Eventually, I earned my certification as a guide and soon thereafter added a second walk called Nature Therapy Walk. Now, forest therapy and gratitude are deeply connected because both invite you to slow down, to notice, and to receive rather than control. When you're in nature with intention, gratitude tends to arise naturally, not as something forced, but as something felt. And there are some very meaningful ways that they connect. One, attention becomes appreciation. So forest therapy encourages you to engage your senses, what you see, what you hear, smell, and feel. This mindful awareness shifts your focus from what's lacking to what is present. For example, noticing sunlight through the leaves, hearing birds or the wind, feeling the texture of tree bark. These small moments often spark spontaneous gratitude. And then there's the from doing to receiving. In daily life, we're often producing, fixing, or striving. In forest therapy, you are invited to simply be and receive what the natural world offers. That shift naturally cultivates gratitude. Like, I didn't create this beauty, but I get to experience it. Or this moment is a gift, not something I earned. And then you have this sense of belonging. Like, time in nature can reduce feelings of isolation and increase a sense of connection to the earth, to other people, like your loved ones, or to something bigger. Gratitude grows when we feel a part of a larger ecosystem or supported by something beyond ourselves. And then there's the perspective and humility. Nature operates on long timelines, like trees, seasons, cycles. This can gently shift perspective away from stress and toward the feeling of awe. Gratitude often follows. Problems feel smaller. Life feels more spacious. And there's that appreciation for simply being alive in this moment. And then you have the embodied gratitude, not just thinking it. Forest therapy is sensory, and that means gratitude is felt in the body, not just listed mentally. For example, a deep breath of fresh air, the calm that settles in your nervous system, our feeling of peace or groundedness. This kind of gratitude is often more lasting. And then you have the ritual and invitation practices. Um, like me, many forest therapy guides intentionally incorporate gratitude practices, such as offering thanks to the land. Um, During the walks, naming things you are grateful for as you move, or leaving a natural gift, like a stone arrangement, as a gesture of thanks. And then lastly, reciprocity mindset. Forest therapy often nurtures the idea that we're in a relationship with nature, not just the observers of it. Gratitude then becomes active, like caring for the land as a steward, reducing harm, living more sustainably. So, in conclusion, forest therapy and gratitude are so artfully linked together. It's the practice of waking up to see the good all around us. It's a way of holding life. And it actually makes us healthy and happy. And they both give us this inner resilience, turns our failures into learning opportunities, our hardships into wisdom, our pain into healing. And we see the world with more humility, appreciation, and wonder. Thank you.
I feel so calm after hearing her. Um, I'm going to continue. Let me get the slideshow going here. So thank you, Jennifer. And now we have Kyle Parker. Can everybody see the PowerPoint on the screen? But yes.
I'm
Boy,
not sure.
I'm not getting it here.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's still the video showing.
Okay. Thank you. Let me stop the share. And where's that video? Let's see. Share. How's that? All right. Go ahead, Kyle. Thank you for your patience.
Oh yeah, all good. Boy, after hearing her voice, I feel full of patience actually. What's up everybody? My name is Kyle Parker. I am coming to y'all from I'm actually outside in our garden right now. Uh Coming to y'all from Edible Campus UNC's kind of main garden. Just a little background about myself. I have been fortunate enough to be growing uh, food with college students for about 12 years now. Makes me feel a little old to say that, but I've been over here at Edible Campus running the show for about six, and I spent some time at our sister garden, Carolina Community Garden, for about 5 years as well. Edible Campus is a program run out of the North Carolina Botanical Gardens. While I'm not necessarily down there all that often, I kind of my home base is up here on campus. It's nice to have kind of the prestige and the support of the larger botanical gardens. And so what we're doing out here is we uh we have this kind of the main garden here. It's about a quarter acre production space, and it's located right in the heart of campus. We are directly behind kind of the big library, the main undergraduate library on campus. And out here, we've got a fully functioning compost setup and a greenhouse and a nice aquaponics setup, as well as about I don't know, 15 raised beds that we're growing seasonal crops. There's some perennial produce stuff like fig trees and persimmons, blueberries, blackberries, that kind of thing. So the space here is really a pretty conventional kind of community garden setup. Um, One of the exciting kind of horticultural things we are doing is we also maintain nine, we call them satellite gardens, all over UNC's campus. So this is from, kind of dorms all the way at the north end of campus to, the writing center all the way down south. We've got two beds right in the middle. We call it the pit. It's like right where our main dining hall is, and the student union and the student stores all kind of converge there. So we've got a couple beds that literally, if you go out there at noon on any given school day, you're surrounded by, thousands of students walking around. So it really is the kind of definition of urban agriculture. And in those spaces, we concentrate on growing, seasonal produce, herbs, basil, cilantro, stuff like that. Again, we've got several fig trees dotted kind of throughout those, and then we have a real selection of native and sometimes non-native flowering plants. There's a view of the main garden there. You can see the greenhouse and the aquaponics out there. The fun part about those satellite gardens is I really think of them as like high utility foodscapes, and they're, like I said, they're being grown right in the heart of campus. So and you could go to, like, for instance, our Graham bed, that one bed probably has upwards of 40 different species in it at any given moment. So we're creating real kind of uh, biologically dense and biologically diverse spaces all throughout campus, and they're maintained by both myself, and I've got a whole team of students and volunteers that help me do that. So it's a very fun horticultural challenge, being out there and kind of growing in those spaces. In terms of, like, kind of the well-being aspect, uh, I'm really hoping that these garden spaces, because we are all free forage, all these sites, we encourage people to come up and harvest at will. So there's no gatekeeping or anything like that. Students, faculty, community members, just come up and, if there's a ripe fig, they pull it off the tree. If there's strawberries or lettuce or herbs or whatever kind of offerings they're looking for, they can just go up and harvest things. So kind of what that does is that causes students to take a moment and kind of examine what's in their landscapes. So oftentimes, especially kind of busy 18, 20-year-olds, they're kind of moving through a lot of these spaces, and they might have headphones on, and they might be looking at their phone, and they're not really observing the world around them quite so much. And so what these spaces do is they encourage folks to just take a beat and go like, oh, what is that? What's growing over here? Um and if one step even further than that, maybe they go and, like I said, take some lettuce or take some basil or a fig from these spaces. Or the last couple years I've been growing a lot of cut flowers, so it's amazing. Yeah, there's one of our satellite beds there. It's really amazing, kind of the smiles, and you can make somebody's day just by giving them an unexpected, bunch of flowers, and then they come back and get some for their friends or whatever. So I'm hoping these spaces really promote joy. They get people out into nature, maybe cause people to slow down a little bit and take a look around them. Um, I have been doing tours my whole time here, and every time I kind of go on a tour with a class, I really invite, as we're walking around, the students or whoever's on the tour to kind of take a look at the spaces, not only our spaces, but just you know, uh, the natural world kind of occurring on the campus. And then when we get to one of our satellite gardens, I love being like, now take a look at these spaces, and if we're uh, what the great things we can do if we're a little more intentional about how we're planting things, instead of, just throwing nandinas and hollies and stuff like that into spaces. We can really be a lot more intentional, and have these high utility kind of biologically diverse spaces that are really good for humans. They're really good for the environment, and honestly, they're just pretty. We always have some kind of flowering plant, so generally these spaces end up being kind of good for everything and everybody. in the last about 3 years, we've been doing like yoga out here in the garden. We actually have our own Nature RX group on campus, run out of Campus Health. That one of the therapists there brings a group out here and works in the gardens. Last semester, it was really awesome. I got to partner with our therapeutic horticulturalist down at the botanical garden, and we did some like very focused lessons out here for uh, a group of students kind of running throughout the semester. So she got to, do some surveys and get some qualitative data there. I think it's certainly, I know I'm probably, preaching to the choir, but I think it's scientific canon, kind of the benefits for all of us for just being outside and interacting with nature. And I'm really trying to use these spaces as kind of living classrooms and invite students and community members out here to, maybe it's planting something at a volunteer work day, getting some dirt underneath their fingernails, or maybe it's just walking through and taking a moment and noticing the beautiful sunflowers growing or something like that, and then getting to take some of those flowers home and enjoy them there. Yeah. So what I'm doing here is just really trying to connect people with the natural world. It's really fun to be able to do it in such a urban, high impact environment. A lot of people, might think growing food and playing with plants is kind of a rural thing or not something that you get to do if you're kind of in an urban environment. And hopefully I'm getting to dispel some of those myths and uh, getting people out and connecting with nature and really feeling some ownership over the campus and the beautiful spaces around them. I think that's about it. I'm happy to take some questions at the end of things. I think you're muted, Joy.
I couldn't find my mute button. Thank you, though, Kyle.
Yeah, yeah, happily.
So again, thank you so much for sharing all that. And I learned a new term, foodscaping. So with that, I'm sure there'll be some more questions. I'm going to move on to Liz Foreman. So let me go ahead and get her set up. Hopefully, y'all can see the um, uh, PowerPoint. Liz, you're on.
All right. Not seen the slide yet, but
Okay, I'll try it again. Hold on. Let me share. Let's see.
take your time.
I think you have
And
to
in the
stop
meantime,
sharing.
Kyle, thanks for teeing me up when you mentioned yoga. My natural recreation ears were calm and at ease, and yeah, teed me up perfectly. So, great. So I'll take us home with, our last space in harnessing nature. My name's Liz Foreman. As Joyce said, I'm the Associate Director of Operations for the University Recreation Department at UNC Charlotte. And so what you'll be seeing in the photo that Joy's pulling up shortly is, oh, I think you're sharing,
Have it?
you're sharing the notes. Okay. Um,
Shouldn't be the notes. My apologies. All right, hold on.
you're good. But yeah, so University Recreation, we were in this initiative where they partnered with the Levine Scholars and put together basically a playground, right? Playgrounds are that old pastime. They never get old, right? We did it as kids. We did it growing up. An outdoor playground is something we always wanted to hop on, jump around, explore. And obviously that is within nature, right? And so that's what a bunch of students had the idea of creating that at the UNC Charlotte campus. And, we have several rec centers on campus that are all indoors. And so I'm actually ironically at a conference today and working. One of the conference mentioned, outdoor activation, and this is purely outdoor activation at its finest, and getting people to, explore their explore physically on this space. And a little bit of history about the core. If onto the next slide, it just shares a little bit more about who the efforts that combine to make this space happen. So CORE stands for calisthenic outdoor recreation equipment. And so that's the fancy name for a playground. And so these students had these ideas. They were very into outdoor recreation that are part of the Lean Scholar Program. Each of these students are given $8,000 to really have some form of civic engagement within the community and try and really build that. And so these three students were really smart. They combined all that funding and really helped pay for this core facility that we now have on campus. And naturally, they worked with facilities management and then two really key folks that I felt the need to list as well from the University Recreation Department that really was a team effort to really create this beautiful space on campus for not only students, faculty, and staff to work out at, but because where I'll show you a little bit later, it's along the Greenway. It's just a perfect location for really everyone and anyone to pop on and get a little workout in. The one of my favorite part about this story of how this was started was one of the students from the Levine Scholars was an engineer. And so he actually designed this himself. You'll see there's the bikes and a bike rack in the photo. This student would actually do dips on the bike rack on campus before this core facility was built. And so I thought that was really, he was very intentional of what he wanted to do as well as other students and how they wanted to work out on campus. And so this student designed this core facility along with another engineer and from campus, and they proposed that to this company, UCS, and they actually specialize in track and field, although they are specialized in metal and bending metal. And so obviously the structure is mostly metal. And so, yeah, between the student, the engineer, and this company, they created a beautiful place for people to work out on campus. On to the next slide. Just shows a little bit about where it's located on campus. So really centralized in between the football field, really right next to the University Recreation Center and the Student Union, where there's a nice parking lot for people to pop in if they're just wanting to use the core facility or even go along the Greenway, which is several miles right going through campus. And so to me, it's just a perfect marriage of you're be able to get your cardio in by going through the Greenway, and then you can pop and do some strength training, which again is one of the more popular trends in fitness and recreation right now, is that strength training has a huge boom. Naturally, cardio is still there and there's always going to be there, but a huge, huge push towards strength training. And so after that, I kind of wanted to go on to the next slide and just share a little bit about how it's funny to see the other presentations and how we all harmoniously come into that healthy mind and kind of healthy body experience. And although core is more of a physical space, all these other areas that everyone else has talked about naturally fall into that same space of that combination of healthy mind, healthy body, and really just a healthy lifestyle. And so similar to one of the other stories, someone said, when COVID happened, this place was booming, right? The University Recreation Center was not open. And so core, people were setting meetups at core. They were, meeting up, which is, with socially with people they knew, people they didn't know, and was just a great community to get people working out and getting healthy. So we were really, really proud of that. To be honest, I think there can be an expansion. There can be maybe a part two, maybe a different location. I think it's important that we meet students and people where they are. And, that's why I think this was a really intentional location, putting it right along campus, where people can just pop in, pop out, to get their workout in. And yeah, to kind of round things up, I know there's the options for people to have a diverse perspective of how they want to work out. We could be outside the gym versus inside the gym, and adding this core complex really helped for us to add that outdoor component for people where people could just exercise outside whenever they wanted to. So I think that's super important. I think there's definitely more spaces for us to do that beyond our fields that we typically have on campus. Structured versus unstructured programming. University Recreation is known for intramurals, sports, programming. This is more of an unstructured for the most part. We did have some programming, workout Wednesdays and things that we've done in the past, and they still continue to pop in here and there. But for the most part, people, are just unstructured, doing what they want when they want, in this space. And I love that these students were so intentional of having this able to be accessed by the community. And I see it every day when I'm outside, people just popping in, people joining each other's workouts or getting a workout on their own. And so I love that is really that community is at the forefront of that. And then functional training versus non-functional training. I think that's for those of you that don't know what functional training is, that's more of that natural way we do things, doing push-ups, pull-ups with our body. And so non-functional is more, using the machines that we offer in our facility. So although it is a great thing to do, it's just a different philosophy of how you want to work out and train. So that's all I have. I think, yeah, I encourage folks to ask me questions, send me questions. But yeah, I'm a huge advocate for recreation and specifically in this case, outdoor recreation.
All right. Thank you, Liz. I'm going to stop sharing so I can see everybody and just see if there's any questions for any of our speakers. While people are pondering, I actually have questions. I wanted to ask um, about the edible garden. Kyle, do you have signage telling people that they can do for free, or is it just something that's known across campus?
No, we have signs in every one of our beds, like plant labels to kind of let people know what is what. And we've got a maker space here on campus that has like laser cutting and embroidery and all kinds of awesome stuff. And I had a couple students for kind of their individual projects. They've been laser cutting me these beautiful bed signs with QR codes and harvest guidelines. And yeah, signage is a big part of just kind of keeping people informed and letting people know what's going on. I get a lot of people using the verb steal, like if they're taking something out of these gardens, they're, doing something wrong. Yeah, signage is a big deal.
And do you offer a lot of class tours, or just occasionally happening? How's that work?
Boy, it kind of comes and goes. We've done a big panel discussion out here this semester. I've probably done, I don't know, half a dozen tours this semester. It ebbs and flows a little bit, but spring is always pretty busy and people want to be out here. So yeah, I partner with a bunch of professors. We get the word out pretty well.
Okay. And
Well, you
lastly,
guys,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead. You had the floor.
Oh, I I dominate the floor, so you go ahead, David.
Well, I was just curious how you go about selecting your garden sites, and are you still looking to expand your operation?
Nice cowboy hat, David. Seriously. So we originally they selected the sites kind of based on proximity to water, sunlight, kind of all the things you would think about in like selecting a good garden site. Um, at this point, we've expanded twice. There's been a little bit of financial back and forth with my boss kind of wanting me to be a fundraiser as well as a gardener and everything else. We are kind of always looking to expand, but I do get a little bit of uh pushback from my higher ups to like not overextend myself. But it's always an opportunity to hire more students, get more students involved. Yeah, I might be a maniac, but I'm always trying to just kind of do more.
All right. Well, we should get a beer and talk about opportunities at the outdoor center.
I would happily do that, man. I'll wear I've got a pretty nice cowboy hat myself.
Well, I have a question that will kind of follow up on what David just asked is like, how has the reception from the university been for these gardening sites? And like how, I don't know if you were there in the beginning, but like how, like what was the process to get these approved and be able to use the space for these gardens?
It had to go all the way up to the chancellor. So this originally got started from it was a student senior capstone project. And it was so good. I have no idea how she got it all the way up to the chancellor. And the chancellor
Yeah.
kind of put her weight behind it and, made things happen as chancellors do. I know originally the grounds crew was maybe a little skeptical of having students running spaces and stuff like that. These spaces are very kind of non-traditional when you think about just your normal kind of ornamental landscape spaces. But we've been doing this for the program is what, 8, 9 years old. I've been
Mhm.
here for 6 years, so I've got a lot of relationships. At this point, kind of everybody wants one of these gardens. Yeah, we get very little pushback. Everybody's pretty happy with what we're doing and uh kind of wants a piece of it in their backyard as well.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Are you aware of any other edible gardens that are models around the United States that we might look at for resources?
Boy, there's a really good one in God, I want to say Brighton, England. I have probably done close to 20 consultations with universities over the last couple years in like Rome and the Netherlands and all over the continental United States. I know there's an edible municipality in Vermont. There's some edible gardens. God, it's one of the Cal University systems, and I'm blanking on which one it is. But yeah, they're out there.
Nothing.
If you Google it, you will find it. But we must be, I don't know, ahead of the game or something because people seem to find me from all over the place and act like I'm some kind of expert in this, which is hilarious. But yeah, they're out there if you're looking to find them.
All right. Well, thank you, Kyle. One other question I had for you, Jordan and Denise, was well, you talked about the funding that you were able to get together. Is there any other recommendations you might make for how other institutions might go about getting funding for a labyrinth, or telling us what the range of cost is for a labyrinth to be built?
Yeah, the labyrinth was about $50,000, and that included both the kit, which you buy from a company, the installation, which the company does because they do best at it, and then the landscaping that our facilities folks did, which saved us some money rather than having the labyrinth folks do the landscaping themselves. And our facilities folks did a beautiful job. And then the signage as well. So it was on the pricier end. And like I said, the first one we used some grant funding that we had to spend before the end of the fiscal year. Um, and then once the folks over in Leon Levine saw it, they were able to say like, "Hey, we want this too." So none of it, we were careful to communicate that none of it was diverted money from student tuition or fees. Students were really excited about this, but we did get a couple of comments of like, well, why can we afford to put in a labyrinth, but we don't have X resource. So we were really careful about how we talked about it and made sure to communicate that it wasn't any funding diverted from student resources.
Such great advice. Thank you for sharing that.
I'm curious who's maintaining those spaces afterwards. Is that y'all's grounds department or something like that?
Yeah, they've been really generous. So we have three of the outdoor wellness locations now. The third one is this beautiful, is it quad? Five-sided, whatever the five-sided thing is. We have a beautiful five-sided swing set now that was entirely built by our facilities folks. But our two criteria for figuring out future outdoor wellness locations on campus is low risk and low maintenance. We want our facilities folks not to be overextended, and we want people not to get hurt on them.
And Jordan, can you kind of just share, like, I know that you're part of that original outdoor wellness learning. What are the representation on that group? Like, so another institution might want to be able to model that. So how's that worked?
Yeah, we have a really robust exercises medicine group on campus. So we've got folks from that group. We've got folks from Joy's department. Christian Jackson is part of that. My buddy Angela here from University Recreation is part of it. We also have, in addition to faculty and staff, we have facilities staff who are part of it. We also have student representation. We actually just met earlier today because we have a Greek organization that now that we've gotten this kicked off, they're interested in doing some fundraising for some additional installations. And the swing set, our best guess is that it cost us $10,000 to $12,000. So we really are offering like a menu of options. Angela and I have connected with a private company that does installations sort of similar to what UNC Charlotte has, except frankly, I like your story of having it student designed better, and I'm sure it was more affordable too. But they have outdoor fitness spaces that go up to $200,000 for installation. And that was something we didn't ever think was possible. But a couple of years after we talked with them, we have this Greek organization that's like, hey, we want to raise money for your outdoor wellness location. So we're sort of saying, here are a variety of price points. What you got for us? So, being creative with funding sources has been really helpful for us, and then communicating clearly where the funding is coming from on the signage. It says where the funding's coming from to sort of, um, um, you know, uh, preempt any criticism about like, why are we putting in this instead of X?
Thank you. Liz, I'm going to segue over to you for my question as two parts. I'm just curious, does it have lighting at night or is it no? And I'm not saying it should, I'm curious if there's lighting. And then do you know how much it might have cost you after the student designed it?
Sure, great question. So there is no lighting specifically for the core space. So yeah, just during daylight to hours. And as far as the cost, so about $120,000 total. So obviously things are probably a little bit more expensive now since it was built in 2019. And actually there's tons of other companies that actually do the specific outdoor complexes, as Jordan shared. So obviously this one might have been a little bit more homegrown, and so maybe a little bit more expensive because of that. But yeah, about that $120,000 mark. So about $30,000 from the grant funding, left UREC with a bill just under $100,000 to finish up.
Yeah, thank
So
you.
still costly.
So worth it if we can
Yeah, absolutely.
invest in the money. And I really liked how you were talking about our kind of common theme of healthy mind, healthy body. And then the other theme I sensed from the presenters was the student engagement piece, whether it was engaging the students in the process or engaging them as part of the product of the process that y'all been involved in. Before I end this, are there any other questions that people might have? All right. In that case, what I'll be doing is I'll be sending out the recording to everybody on the listserv. And again, I want to thank these amazing speakers for sharing out. We're trying to figure out how to get these other places, your spaces, into other spaces of the institution across North Carolina. So thank you for your time and energy. The speakers will stay on to the bitter end, but the rest of you